Hello everyone, welcome back to DevOps Codex. In episode 1, we learn what is the Docker and why it is the most known tool for DevOps engineers. Today episode 2 and we are driving under the hood to understand how Docker actually works. What happens when we run the Docker commands. So let's break into it all down and see one by one what happened when you run the docker commands. Okay, so first of all, let's understand the core component of docker. So if you're talking about the core component of the docker, so first one is the docker engine. Docker engine is the runtime environment which provide a runtime environment to run the dockers, means containers. And like docker daemon is nothing but it is run in the background and manage the containers. Okay, so it's manage the containers. So whenever we are installing the docker mm, daemon docker we are installing in one backend, one process is running. Okay, that is called a daemon. Like suppose you are installing the Apache web server. So when we are running the Apache web server, then http d1 daemon is running. Daemon is the background process that is running to manage the things. Okay, and next component is docker CLI. Docker CLI in the sense this is our local machine. On local machine we are running the docker command, docker hyphen hyphen help. So it is going and interacting with, we are providing input and it is going to our docker daemon and engine. It is calling the APIs. Okay, and next is the docker REST APIs. Docker REST API is to interface between the Docker CLI and daemon. So Docker CLI in the sense whatever command we are running, REST APIs means whatever command we are running internally, it is calling one API which is providing a interface between the CLI and daemons. And next one is the Docker registry. Docker registry in the sense this is the place where we are storing the images. Okay, like ECR हो गया हमारा. Okay, and Docker hub हो गया हमारा. So these are the like Docker registry kind of things. Okay, so if we talk about the uh, life cycle of our Docker. Okay, what happened when we run the uh, CLI commands? Okay, similarly, what happened when we run the docker run nginx command. So CLI sent the commands via the REST API. Daemon check the images, which images? Nginx images, and pull it if needed. If locally it is not available, it will be go to hub or registry, and it will be download from there, and then you can create and start and run your containers. And after running the containers, it will be show the output on the terminal. Okay, it's started. Then with the help of docker ps command, docker logs followed by the container id, you can check the things. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, when we type the docker run nginx command, the docker CLI send a request to docker daemon via the REST API call. The daemon checks, do I have this image locally or not? If not, then what it will do, it will it will pull the docker image from docker registry like docker hub or ECR. Once the image is ready, the docker daemon create the container, allocate the resource based on the requirements. Okay, based on the requirements, and set up the networking things. Okay, it will be set the networking things, and then it will, after setting the networking things, what it will do, it will be start the container and run the container. Okay, this is the process in backend is running. So let's deep dive uh, all the components one by one. So first component is docker CLI. Docker CLI is the gateway to interact with your Docker. So Docker CLI is the gateway to uh, interact with your Docker. Docker command line interface to interact with the Docker. Docker command like Docker and Docker PS, Docker build. These are the commands which we are running to manage our Docker engine. So first of all, uh, what is happening in CLI? We are running the Docker command. Okay, so it is providing the a tool to interacting with our Docker engine. Next component is the Docker daemon. Docker daemon, which we discussed, like it is running in background. Okay, so it's manage the images, containers, networks, and volumes, and talks to it is talking to the registries and creating the bills, creating the pull, and running the containers. These things it is done by the Docker daemon. Basically, it is managing the Docker related things. It is running in background, and the name is dockerd. Okay, so this is the background process. It is managing the resource, and it is uh, listen the API. Via API, we are interacting, and it is listening and doing the actions, performing the actions. Next one is the Docker image. Docker image is nothing but it is read only template for the container. Read only template in the sense it is kind of a template which is built in layer by layer. Like we are writing from something, copy, execute command, run command, installing steps. These things we are running. These are the creating the layers inside the Docker image. And how we are creating the Docker image? We are writing the Docker file. And inside the Docker file, we are writing one by one the layers. And this this Docker file, with the help of this Docker file, we are creating the Docker image. So if you talk about the features of Docker image, this is the read only template, immutable template from the container creation, and built-in layers where we are providing the layers in Docker file. And with the help of Docker file, we are building the image, and that image we are sharing to the other resources based on the requirement. Next component is the Docker container. This is the main component for running our applications. So Docker containers is the lightweight and isolated environment. It is very lightweight, and uh, what we are doing, we are writing the file, Docker file, and then we are creating the image, and with the help of image we are running the container, Docker containers. So created from the Docker image, and it's very lightweight and easily we can run very fast. Okay, and builds its isolate, means suppose you have multiple containers, all are isolated from each other. Okay, so this is the like mm, this is the beauty of our Docker container. So next one is the Docker registry. What we did, we created the Docker file, from Docker file to Docker image. Okay, from Docker image we have created the Docker container. Okay, and what we are doing, we are restoring these Docker images in a repository that is called Docker repository. Okay, similar like we have the source version control system like Git. Bitbucket, GitHub, where we are storing our source code. Same way we are centralizing storing our Docker images. That is called Docker registry. And Docker registry, it's like a place where we storing the images are stored and easily we can share. We can make our images public or private. uh, if you have the registries, private registry, easily you can share within the your team or somewhere. It is public, anyone can go and download your images and use your images. Okay, and easily if we are going to pull those images with the help of docker pull command, we can pull the images, and docker push command, we can push the images in our docker registry. Okay, so there are two kind of registries are available. First one is the private, second one is the public. And with the help of docker command, we are managing our docker images, like storing our images, deleting our images, pushing our images, pulling our docker images. Those things we are doing. Okay, so in this section, uh, uh, let's recap again. When we run the docker CLI command, CLI send the command via the REST API, and docker daemon gets the image, and container is created and run. N- and after that it is setting up the networking and volume, whatever you want you can configure, and then our output is coming. This is whole process takes a second, but it involves some serious orchestration. So I hope you guys understand like w- what is happening when we are running the docker command in backend. Like this is the power of docker behind the scene. In next episode 3, we will actually installing the docker on Linux machine, Mac OS, Windows. So if you follow along with the real time, and I understand you guys. I hope you guys like my videos. So this is the DevOps Codex, and thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.